Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news, and it's good news as we have a treble return of injury boost. Is that words? Well, you know what, I'm excited. It's good news. We'll be talking about who that is, of course. Also, apparently Javi Alonso turned down the Manchester United job in the summer. We'll talk about that. Thomas Frank links as well. But also we're going to be talking about Manchester United now. Is it time to deliver? Yes. Is it time to get behind the side? Yes. Why did you stop? On Saturday, Old Trafford roaring. Ten Hag's United is the one we have at the moment. Are you behind it? It's stick or twist. It's time to deliver, but it's time to deliver for the fans as well. We've got a poll going on the live chat at the moment. Would you rather have Ten Hag or Ruud van Nistelrooy as your coach? That's your choice for the next 7 months. Where are you at as a United fan tonight? Get involved. It's Thursday night action. Let's move. Big shout out to Kev as well. It was meant to be Kev's show tonight, but he's had to go to Ipswich. I don't know what him and McKenna are up to, but Kev might be cooking something. Hopefully Kev's not gone to Ipswich to kidnap McKenna. Kev, we've got Ten Hag for Saturday. We don't need to do it. Anyway, let's get into the show. And the big updates straight away, the big breaking news, the big topical news is from Manchester United, so you can take it as read. Manchester United have confirmed that Mazraoui, Garnacho and Ahmad are all back in training after missing games for their countries during the break. This is what I'm talking about, brother. This is what I'm talking about, brother. Hulkamaniacs, this is what I'm talking about, because you know what? A lot of people were saying that Mazraoui had this heart condition and he was going to be out for a few weeks. Look, we reported that, but I keep saying this. We do get bits of information, and we have had bits of information over the years. But right here, right now, I keep telling you, no one's getting stuff out of Ineos. No one's getting stuff. I don't believe people who go, we're not doing this, we're not doing that, this is happening, that's happening. They're not getting stuff. Mazraoui's fit to play on Saturday. Amazing, fantastic boost. And yet, he'd had an operation and was going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks. He is fit, he is training, he is available for Saturday. So is this guy, Garnacho. So is Ahmad. Absolutely fantastic news. And on top of that, Ugarte didn't train with the first team, but trained individually because he played for Uruguay on Wednesday morning. So it's huge. I mean, look, I'll take a pinch of salt with the Ugarte one because he didn't train with the team. He apparently trained individually. But Mazraoui, Garnacho, Ahmad, all okay. All okay. So big news. Big news. Unfortunately, we didn't get even any better news than that because it has been confirmed by the club that Mainu will be out for a few weeks with Harry Maguire as well. So, look, it's not all good news, but it looks like Ugarte may be involved for Fenerbahce, may even be involved for Saturday, which would be great with the Mainu injury. And, of course, Garnacho, Mazraoui, Ahmad, all fit is absolutely fantastic. So very pleased about that. Of course, I'm sure many of you are as well. It just gives us more options, and it just softens the blow of Mainu, doesn't it? Because that Mainu injury is obviously very significant. On top of that, I mean, I did tell you about this one. I mean, look, I didn't have any information. It's just a very strong prediction where, water is wet, I suppose, because what you've got is also an update from Manchester United that Mason Mount and Luke Shaw continue their recovery, with both making steady progress. I mean, what the hell is steady progress? It's like concrete with the transfer stuff. What the bloody hell is steady progress? Mason Mount and Luke Shaw are making steady progress. I don't even know what's wrong with Mason Mount. He banged his head and he's been out for 3 weeks. I mean, that is some sort of head injury, that is. I mean, I don't think it is a head injury, is it? I don't think it's a head injury. I genuinely think it's not. Have we had an update? Did I miss that? So Mason Mount and Luke Shaw are making steady progress. I mean, as for Luke Shaw and steady progress, the guy hasn't played a game since February. Steady progress. Tortoise progress. Dead tortoise progress. Dead tortoise on sleeping pills progress. Dead tortoise on sleeping pills swimming through concrete progress. Slower than a snail at a bloody funeral progress. What? I mean, it's just What steady How can they be steady progress when the guy's not played since February? Give us a fucking update. What are you scared of? Surely give us the truth instead of this. I mean, the updates around Luke Shaw have been absolutely shocking as well, haven't they? I mean, Man United do need to learn. Publicly communicating with your fans is very important. You're not superior. You are not dictators. Communicate. We can deal with it. I mean, nobody is... With Man United staying quiet about Luke Shaw, no one's gone, oh, give him a break. Get him a Kit Kat. It's actually made people get really pissed off. So if you'd said from the start, probably not going to play till November, people would have been angry, but this whole uncertainty... I remember when Luke Shaw got injured in pre-season, there were talk about him being back for the international break. We've had 2, and he's still not back. So what is the update with Luke Shaw? What is going on? And how the friggin' hell can he get injured in July and be making steady progress in mid-October? What's the bloody injury? You know, give us some bloody information. But yeah, Mason Mount, steady progress. I mean, unfortunately, Mason Mount's in the Luke Shaw club, isn't he? I mean, just what's steady progress with Mason Mount? I don't like the word steady progress. You can't find a definition in the dictionary. What is steady progress? Is that a week? Is that before Christmas? You know, who's going to arrive at Old Trafford first? Santa or Shaw and Mount? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But also, Malacia is training with the first team and took part again today. Not the full session, but the first stage of it, apparently. When we talk about Gary O'Driscoll and his history, says Robin and Mark, they didn't say which international break, says Angel Bomb. Yeah, very clever that. Glad to see Garnacho is training too, says Connor, although he'll probably start Rashford, although whatever the 11 is, get behind them for the win, says Connor. We'll be talking about that in a minute. Viniak, welcome to you. Thank you very much for your super chat. Rory says 24 points in the last 20 Premier League games. I don't think there are enough mitigating factors to defend that record. It's close enough to relegation form, says Rory. And who's to blame, says, if Ruud got the job and did bad, will we just fire him or would he go back to assistant coach while we get a new one? Fired! He'll be fired, mate. You can't give Ruud van Nistelrooy the job and then get in a new manager and say you've got to use Ruud van Nistelrooy. That's not, no new manager should be forced an assistant coach. That's just not the way you run a football club. Not at all. But you know what? Just going back to what Rory C said there. Who's with me? Are we all in this together? I mean, I think on Saturday afternoon, Old Trafford's going to roar. I think we've waited for this game for 2 weeks. I think the club have made a decision. They've gone with Ten Hag for now. The option is Ten Hag or Ruud van Nistelrooy. I would rather it work out with Ten Hag and Ruud as his assistant than Ruud being an interim for a few months and a reset. So this is what we've got. Last chance saloon, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think it is last chance saloon. I think it is, let's go for it on Saturday. Let's get the win and try and start something. The season starts on Saturday or it ends on Saturday. But where are you as fans? Because I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking Old Trafford has got to roar on Saturday. It's got to be behind the players, behind the manager, so that we give everything we can as fans to this team and this manager. And if it comes crashing down, we can't be to blame. Because we're not to blame, are we? We've not been to blame for the last 10 years. So that's where I am. I'm like, you know what? What's the point? I don't get the point in all the negativity and the Ten Hag out stuff, because where's it going to go? It can only go to Ruud. Now, if you want Ruud van Nistelrooy to be your manager, that's absolutely fine. But surely, with 2 weeks off and all the crap that's been going on, you're just craving Saturday afternoon and supporting your team and hoping that this can be a start of something. I mean, I don't know whether it will be, but I know I want it to be. And I think as a football fan, as a Man United fan, you've got to know what you want. The hardest thing is being conflicted. What do you want on Saturday? Are you one of those people who wants us to lose because you just want Ten Hag out, no matter what the damage? Or are you somebody that wants your team to win and you want it to get up and running? Because I think it's a call to action on Saturday. I think that realistically, as people are voting in the live chat, which manager would you prefer, Ten Hag or Ruud? 70% Ten Hag, 30% Ruud. I think that's your choice for the rest of the season. I really, really do. There was a story in the Daily Mail today saying that Sami Mokbel saying that Javi Alonso had been offered the job in the summer and rejected it. Was he? What's so special about that journalist that he gets that exclusive from Ineos? Why is Sir Jim picking the phone up to him? Did we really offer him the job? Did we really Are we that stupid that we thought we could pick the phone up to an ex-Liverpool legend and go, I know you've rejected Liverpool, but do you want the Man United job? I mean, is there anybody that stupid at Man United that will actually do that? Do you genuinely think that happened? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But the bottom line is, where we are now is not the summer. Where we are now is not next summer. There's a very simple choice here. We are going to either turn it around under Ten Hag, or we are going to sack him and we're going to go to Rude and start again in the summer. And I know what I would rather do. I would rather not have another reset. I would rather not write the season off completely. I would rather this project got off its arse and delivered. That's a big ask, but I'll be playing my part. On Saturday, we get behind this team. That's what I say. We don't have to. I'm not telling you what to do. You don't have to, but that's what I'm doing. And sure enough, at 5 o'clock on Saturday, I might be sat there going, you're an absolute prat. Why did you believe? But that's what we do. We get behind our team and we believe. And then we watch the game and we go, what a prat. But look, it's got to happen on Saturday, surely. I want to win. I hope the laptop has a good day, says Parker. With the current injuries, we should play the youth, says Phil. And as if people prefer Rude, says Jack Milner. Let's be honest, who here watches Dutch football to see his managerial credentials? Might be good, but I'd be hesitant, says Jack. Patrick Lynch says, with regard to Mason Mount, depending on the severity of this injury, he may be going through concussion protocol. That can be a couple of weeks. Patrick, you and me both, but I don't think it's a head injury. You know what? We've had more injuries than the bloody A&E department, but the bottom line is, I suspect, I am not dreaming this. Why would I dream about Mason Mount's injury record? Oh, I'll have a great time. Oh, it's a sprained ankle this time. Oh, I thought it was a head. No, I have not dreamt it. So I'm pretty sure he banged his head. Did he not put an Instagram post out afterwards saying it's nothing major, I'm fine? I don't think it is a head injury, Patrick. I think it's another injury. I'm sure he posted that it's nothing major with my head, and then a few days later we heard he had a knock. Greg Donald says yes, he did. So I don't think this is the head injury. I think this is yet another injury. God knows what. Off to the game Saturday with the Leamington Supporters Club. Great lads, great day out. Come on, United, says Darren. Up the Leamington Supporters Club. Up everybody who's going on Saturday. It's a call to action. Who would have thought Man United against Brentford would be our game of the season so far? It really is. Play your part. Get yourself to Old Trafford. I think there are tickets available. Get behind the team. Sing your hearts out, because if the fans do their bit and that can't inspire, then we truly are lost, aren't we? I never thought we would be dreading the return of Premier League football, says Ryan. Our season is over. They won't change anything. Faith has been lost completely. I would have agreed with you, Ryan, and I know a lot of people feel like that, but we're Manchester United. Like, even if we were going to the Etihad on Saturday, I'd still be, come on, fucking do it, you know. So Brentford at home, difficult game, but come on. It is Brentford at home. Who would have thought 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we'd be worried about Brentford at home? We've got to go and get a win. We've got to. And I want to see a performance. These lads can turn it on when they want to. Now it's time to turn it on. Would you still want to change in the summer if Ten Hag turned it around and got us fourth and a trophy, or would you want us to pivot, says Caleb? I think that's a great question, Caleb. And would you people watching live or not live, would you change it if Ten Hag got fourth place and won a trophy? I wouldn't be changing it hypothetically, because he'd have 3 trophies in 3 years and he'd have Champions League football, so he's hit the criteria. But what I would say, Caleb, and why I think it's a good question, depends what the football's been like. I mean, if everybody's been shit and we've scrapped our way to fourth and scrapped our way to a trophy, I would say that might be enough to make a change. Style of football still has to be part of it. Robert McCormack FC, he said that last season. We've got to see a style of football this year, and we do. Too many teams play with a style of football, whether it's Brighton, Aston Villa, Newcastle. I'm not even talking about the quintessential top 4. So we have to see that as well. But let's be honest, if he won a trophy and got top 4, he's hit the criteria. 3 trophies in 3 years and Champions League qualification. But I don't think that's possible at the moment. Bringing Mount Anana was a mistake by Ten Hag, says Kamal. Bruno hasn't lost his form. He was only good when he had that ball that was like a flyaway ball. Same with Rashford. These players are not good enough. Lee, Lee, you can't say that. You don't really mean it, Lee. You take it back, Lee. You're not telling me that Bruno and Rashford were only good because it was a certain type of ball that moved around a bit. Come on. Give him a break, Lee. That's the worst one yet. That is the worst one yet. Surely you don't think that. Yusuf says, Mason Mount picked up a knock as well as a head injury, so he's carrying 2 injuries. Samuel Luckhurst, 3rd of the 10th, 24. Yeah, well, I wouldn't trust him. He only knows what he reads from Twitter. Yeah, he'll be over the head injury. I think he's got a knock, hasn't he? But yeah, if you're tuning in a little bit late, Mazraoui's back in training and will be playing on Saturday. Garnacho is back in training and will be playing on Saturday. Ahmad is back in training and will be back on Saturday. Mainu and Maguire are out for a few weeks, but Agate trained individually today. So even if he's out on Saturday, it looks like he's back for maybe Fenerbahce. So good, positive news around those things. Interestingly enough, actually, I'm going to close this poll because I want to ask you a question. It's Thursday night. This wasn't meant to be my show. It's normally Kev in the studio, so I'm filling in. I'm a bit nervous actually. So I've not done this before, but I'm not used to a Thursday night. But I want to get interactive and I want people to throw their comments in. We've done a bit of a poll already. Would you prefer Ten Hag to be the coach or Ruud van Nistelrooy? 30% of you have gone with Van Nistelrooy. 70% of you have gone with Ten Hag. But one thing I did want to bring in is that the Mail again actually have linked Thomas Frank to Manchester United as a manager. So I just wanted to just spend a moment because we are playing them at the weekend, of course. Yes or no, would you want Frank as manager? You know what? To be frank, it's a no from me. It's a no from me. I have changed my opinion on Thomas Frank from when we were linked to him in the summer and I nearly spat out my tea. I have. I've looked at Brentford a lot more this season. By chance and by design. I watched them play against Liverpool at Anfield and I thought they were really good. And I've watched them play 2 or 3 other times as well. Without Ivan Toney, which was always my thing, I always thought Ivan Toney was the reason that Brentford were so good. And that's just really silly, really, because obviously Thomas Frank's always been a well-organised manager. And they have been very impressive. But I would still say that I'm not saying he can't do the United job. I'm not saying he shouldn't be a candidate for the Manchester United job. But I've got to be honest, whilst I wouldn't throw my toys out the pram and I would back him, I would be concerned. I just don't think that... I think there's other options I would be going for before it. So if you're saying to me, Ten Hag's been sacked and it's Thomas Frank or Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course I'm going to go for Thomas Frank because he's got the better pedigree. But if you're saying to me, Ten Hag's been sacked and it's Thomas Frank, Nagelsmann, Amorim, and, a couple of other candidates, then to me, it wouldn't be Thomas Frank. Angel Bomb says, I often travelled to United games on the Leamington bus in the 80s. Phil and Norma, good times. I tell you what, the Leamington bus is getting a right shout out. And I tell you what, I'll give Leamington a shout out. It's a bloody lovely place. I go there when I do the podcast with Ben Foster. The football fill-in. That's bang in the middle of Leamington and lovely place. Right next to Warwick, lovely part of the world. And this is the great thing about our fan base. It's not all from Manchester. Fantastic Man United fans in Manchester, but Dublin, India, Leamington, massive. Manchester United have got fans all over the world. And, it pisses me off when people don't actually take note of that. We're all in it together. And we're all in it together on Saturday. We are. The Leamington Massive aren't the only ones who are going to be going to that ground and getting behind the team and getting behind the players. So, and even if you're not at the ground and you're watching it or, you're on the watch along or whatever like that, get behind the lads. They owe us a performance. I think every United fan on Saturday should put aside what they think about managers and owners and just say, give me a happy Saturday. It's 3 points against Brentford. It's not going to change the world. It's not going to make us get top 4. It's not going to make us be back. It's just one game. But bloody hell, we deserve it. I would say to every Man United player, we're behind you, but give us something. It's Brentford at home. Yes, they're a good team, but bloody hell, we pay you enough. Get on that pitch and give us something back. Give us our Saturday nights back. Give us some joy and triumphant joy. Come on. We need a performance on Saturday. We need 3 points on Saturday. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if we win. It doesn't mean Ten Hag's going to be here for another 10 years. West Ham away next week, lose that and it's all back again. But let's get a fucking result on Saturday, for the love of God. Robin says it's a disgrace. Gary is still head of medical. Gary out. He's really got it in for Gary. Always look on the bright side of life, says Gavin. And why is it that our football can't be exciting, says La Familia. Look, I'm going to say something now. Let's get into the questions and let's make it interactive. So start chucking your questions and your opinions in. But I think that when you talk about the style of football, remember, it's really fell off after. Before the Spurs game, I think everything was fine. Sorry, I was just asking some. I think football is like a journey to the shops. You walk outside, it's sunny. Yeah, 10-minute walk to the shops. It's sunny. You've got your headphones in. You're listening to your favourite bit of music. Maybe listening to the United stand. I've just made it even better. You pop in the shops. You're feeling great. Ooh, what am I going to have? Oh, I think I'll have a Calypso, a packet of crisps, and that'll do for me now. You walk out. It's pissing down with rain. Oh my God, this is the end of the world. Things change. I think when you look at United ever since Spurs, it's been everything's terrible. Everything is awful. We haven't scored a goal since Crystal Palace. Clean sheet. Sorry, we haven't scored against Palace or Spurs or Villa. No goals in 3 Premier League games. Smacked up by Spurs. But reality is we've only lost 1 of the last 4. But that's not. I'm not spinning a positive on that. It's not been very good for the last 4 games. Before the Spurs game, though, we were top of the league for big chances missed. We were creating chances. There was something happening against Fulham, Brighton, Liverpool, Southampton. There was. And Crystal Palace. Those first 5 games, there was signs of something happening. And then Spurs, it came crashing down. So everybody who talks about style of play, this, that and the other, we're in a bad place at the moment. But I still will not acknowledge that first 5 games of the season, there were signs of. I mean, that Palace game was just ridiculous. I watched Liverpool play Palace just before the international break. They did exactly the same as what we did. For 60 minutes, they could have been 4-0 up. Guehi makes a mistake, they're 1-0 up, and then last half an hour, Palace start creating chances. But we didn't score the goals. And the problem is that whilst I think in the first 5 Premier League games, we looked better in relation to chance creation, the last 3 games in the Premier League, we haven't scored. So Saturday, really for me, is you're either with us or against us. The season either starts or it ends on Saturday. Who would have thought Man United Brentford at Old Trafford was going to be our biggest game? But it is. It really is a signpost. You can't even draw on Saturday. You've got to play well and you've got to win. And if you do that, the world will go, it's only Brentford. But it's not only Brentford, is it? Brentford are a decent team, but it's not even about that. It's about, can we turn around this season? Can we show a bit of personality? Can we show chance creation is going to be big on Saturday as well? So I don't think it's an unrescuable situation because I think I saw signs at the start of the season. The problem is the last few games have been shit. I mean, Villa, we never looked like we were going to score. Porto's. The Europa League's hard to judge, isn't it? Really. Ankit, thank you very much for your super chat. Ross McRae Magician says, travelling to Manchester tomorrow ahead of the game on Saturday. My first game at Old Trafford. Got your book packed for reading on the train, says Ross. You'll be massively popular if you get that book out on the train and start reading it. Brilliant buy, Ross. And great that you're going to your first game on Saturday, and I hope you fantastically enjoy it. Seems to be a lot of people going for their first game on Saturday, actually. I've seen a few people saying that. Purely because of the fact that I'm Danish, I would love Thomas Frank to be the manager of Man United in case Ten Hag gets sacked, says Gustav. Fair point. And Robin has already said that. United are good in patches in the game, but can't play well for 90 minutes, says Andrew. Fair assessment. And Mike says, honestly, I don't know what you see in the manager or team. I thought you knew ball. Obviously not. Mike, to to be honest with you, it's got nothing to do with anything like that. It's to do with the fact that I support Manchester United and I want us to win. I don't look at my football club and go, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You're all shit. I hope it all falls apart. I look at it and I go, you're not doing well enough. You're not doing well enough. You're not doing well enough. Prove me wrong. Win this game because I fucking want to win this game. Everybody's different. Everybody's entitled to support the team the way they want to do. But the key word for me is support. I never understood last season against Brentford when I did the match reaction and people were telling me I was embarrassing for celebrating 2 stoppage time goals and winning against Brentford. People were going, it's embarrassing. It's Man United at Old Trafford against Brentford and you're celebrating 2 late winners in stoppage time. It's embarrassing. Oh, it's embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing, is it? It's not embarrassing. You know, Manchester United over the last 10 years, it's pure arrogance to say it's embarrassing to celebrate a late equaliser against Porto away or a late winner against Brentford at Old Trafford. It's pure arrogance. I've seen us get beat by Swansea. I've seen us get beat by the bloody team that knocked us out with bloody pink boots, missing a penalty. LSG says it was shameless, but it's not shameless. You're shameless. You're an absolute moron, mate, because you've got no concept of what supporting your team is. You don't pick and choose what game you think you should celebrate a goal for. You don't pick and choose who you think you're better than. You have a reality, and the reality you keep telling us is that we're shit, and that our manager's shit, and that our players are shit. Well, if we're shit, and the managers are shit, and the players are shit, then surely a late winner against Brentford is something to celebrate, because we're shit, mate. But no, you can't. Everything's shit, but you can't celebrate when you get late equalisers or late winners, because, it's not good enough. You just want to see the world burn. You've lost reality. You say you support the team, but I don't know what your reality is. What is it you're supporting? What do you think we should be doing? Rolling into the Emirates and winning 4-0 with bloody Brazil 1970 ball? Like, where have you been for the last 10 years? We haven't played good football for 10 years. There's not a period of time in the last 10 years you can tell me, well, oh yeah, take me back to 2015. Oh yeah, hot. Get your bloody bikini on, because that was proper football. Mate, 10 years we've played shit. Not saying it's any better now, but we've played shit for 10 years. 10 years we've had shit performances. I'll celebrate when Man United aren't losing, because bloody hell we lose enough. We really do. And I just want us to win. You know what? I said this. If they'd sacked Ten Hag on the Monday, I didn't want it to happen, but there would have been some relief that we can move on and try and get some bloody positivity back. I just want us to win. I just want us to win on Saturday. It's as simple as that. I just want Manchester United to win. And people can say it's embarrassing, but I don't think it's embarrassing celebrating your team scoring a goal. I really, really don't. United, says Ben. Do you think adding more... look, if you are fortunate enough to be at the game on Saturday and it's 0-0 into the 91st minute and it comes to Rashford on the edge of the box and he smacks it in the top corner, you genuinely tell me you're going to sit there while everyone's going mad going, it's embarrassing. No, I'm not even gonna smile. No. Get off me, it's embarrassing, it's Brentford. No, I don't care if it was a worldie. I'm not even looking. I'm closing my eyes. No. I will never look at that goal again. It's embarrassing to score a worldie at Old Trafford in the last minute and beat Brentford. Rubbish. I hate it. Yeah, you're not going to do that, are you? You're going to jump around. You're going to enjoy it. That's what it's all about. That's what it is all about. God, I think some of the goals I've celebrated over the years. Yes, the Michael Owen in the at Old Trafford in that brilliant Manchester derby. I mean, it's a shame it was Michael Owen, but it was still a good goal. Yes, Sheringham and Solskjaer in 99, but there's plenty of other goals out there. Plenty of other goals where you just go, probably meaningless games, but you just like, fucking get in. I love Mesraoui, but was hoping to see Delo at right back. Now he'll be at left back. I think he would have been at left back anyway, Scott. I know, I get what you're saying, but I really do think that Delo would have been at left back anyway with Lindelof at right back. So, but I want to see Delo at right back, because I think one of the big problems we've got is that, and we were talking about this last night, Bruno isn't creating enough, and our wingers are not creating enough, and there are no fullbacks to create. Whereas if you've got Delo, if you had Luke Shaw at left back, it'd be a bloody miracle. But if you had Luke Shaw at left back, he will overlap and put crosses in. And if you've got Delo at right back, he has the ability to overlap and put crosses in. Mazraoui, at the moment, he can go forward, but we're just not getting forward with Mazraoui, are we? Thanks very much for your super chats, Scott. Shreech says, Mark, do you think adding more youth to our forward line is causing this inconsistency issue? Rashford is supposed to be the finished product at his age, but he is inconsistent as well. I don't think age has got anything to do with inconsistency. And what I mean by that is, I always think, if I said to you, this is a good one, quintessential inconsistent Man United player from years gone by. You can't pick anyone from the current team. So it could be anybody who's left from this summer to the very first Premier League season. Because I always think Ashley Young. I think Ashley Young is the most quintessential, inconsistent player I can think of. Like, we bought him from Aston Villa as a winger. And occasionally, he would have a game where you would go, yeah, he deserves to play for England. And then he'd have 5 or 6 games where you'd go, he deserves to play for Scotland. He would be absolutely shit. And then he'd be absolutely amazing. So Marcus Rashford being inconsistent, or Bruno being inconsistent, or Casemiro being inconsistent, it's got nothing to do with their age. It can happen. Where you're right about young players is that young players can be inconsistent because they're learning their trade. Whether it's Rasmus, Garnacho, Mainu, Ahmad, they're all young players, and that's going to happen. There has to be a level of patience when you're dealing with young players. But unfortunately, and you made this point very, very well, our senior players are inconsistent as well. And in years gone by, you would bring in a David Beckham or a Paul Scholes or whatever, but they would be surrounded by consistent leaders like Roy Keane and Cantona. But you've got to be patient with youth, and you've got to understand it's going to be inconsistent. But unfortunately, we are the definition of inconsistency across our whole 11. Would you still back Ten Hag if we get beat? Says La Familia. I mean, I can't give you future emotions, and I don't think it does anybody any favors to predict how you're going to feel. I mean, what if it was like, you know, some ridiculous VAR decision? But I've got to be honest, you can't have the rainbow without the rain. And if I'm saying here that Saturday is the start of our season, you're either with us or against us. It's a massive game, and why would you not want us to win? And let's go and get it. I've also got to acknowledge that if we lose, you're building it up like that as an important game to go and win. If you lose it, well, questions have to be asked. And I think that's what I would say. Questions have to be asked. We've got enough players. Yeah, there's a couple of injuries, but we've got enough players to win that game. It's the theatre of dreams. It's 75,000 people who will be up for it. It's Brentford, with all due respect. They're a decent Premier League side, but it's Brentford. There isn't an excuse to lose that game on Saturday. How I'll feel afterwards, I can't tell you, but it's as I said to you a couple of weeks ago, we've seen what happened to Ollie, we've seen what happened to Van Gaal, and we've seen what happened to Jose. And although Jose got sacked after Liverpool, I don't think he got sacked because he lost to Liverpool. I mean, Ten Hag lost 7-0 at Anfield. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got beat 5-0 at Old Trafford. I can't remember what Mourinho got beat by, but I don't think it was at a pounding. But it wasn't really that game that I think cost Mourinho his job. And we all know it was the Watfords and the Leicesters that cost Ollie his job. I think these games that we've got coming up are the games that tend to be the ones that do you. Because it's bad losing to Liverpool. And it's bad losing away to Brighton. And it's bad losing to Spurs when you're down to 10 men. But losing to Brentford at home, losing to West Ham away, they're the sort of games where the owners go, hold on a minute, we want to be top 4, we've spent a lot of money, why are we losing to teams like that? Those sort of teams are the teams you've got to be putting away. So, you know, I think people think, oh God, we've got Man City or whatever like that. But it's very rare that those are the games that really are going to get you the sack. It's these types of games, really. Thank you very much for that. We should ride the storm for the first 30 minutes, says Michael. Well, as I said in the preview yesterday, we've definitely got to ride the storm in the first 2 minutes because remember, Brentford have scored in the first 2 minutes of the last 4 Premier League games. I mean, I'm gonna be watching that game on Saturday afternoon. I'm just gonna be going, that first start the clock. Right, can we survive the next 120 seconds? It's crazy. It's crazy. We don't create from the right, says Ankit. We're a bit like my Man United career mode, actually. I bought that Barcelona left back, and I just go down the left-hand side all the time and ignore the right. But we've been doing this for years. I think it's been statistically proven that over the last 4 years, before Ten Hag, we use the left way more than we use the right. And I don't necessarily understand why, but we do use the left a lot. Is it because Martinez hasn't been here for 3 of the last 4 years, has he? Because he was injured last season. But we do go down the left-hand side a lot. I think subconsciously we go down the left-hand side a lot because Rashford's our quickest player. So we look for that diagonal, don't we, traditionally? But yeah, we do go down the left a lot. And I think we should balance it up because I think the right-hand side can be quite potent. But as I say, we're probably going down the left-hand side a lot at the moment because Dalot's playing on the left, Mazraoui's playing on the right, and Mazraoui's not pushing forward. Like, Mazraoui's not really getting forward as much as Dalot does. And we're using Dalot to push into the midfield and invert, aren't we? So, yeah, Mazraoui ends up staying back more. Players need to be switched on from the start, says Solid Blake. And Rocket Game says, I feel like Garnacho is quicker now. Well, I mean, look, there was a ridiculous story I read tonight about PSG still being interested in Rashford. I mean, just what a load of crap. I mean, we just need to not take any notice of any player being linked to any club at the moment because all it can do is generate preposterous feelings on things that aren't going to happen. It's October. Marcus Rashford's a massively important player for us. But there are people out there that think he's lost a yard of pace. I just find that incredible. I can't fathom how at 26, 27 you'd lose your pace. I've never heard of that before. So I wouldn't say Garnacho is quicker than Rashford. I would still say that Rashford is our quickest winger, and his explosive pace is still an asset if we can utilise it. I just don't think we should look to use it all the time. Although what I will concede about Rashford is, and it always sticks in my mind, is that when he had a very strange back injury, and pretty much since then he's struggled apart from that 6 months he had under Ten Hag when Ten Hag first came up to the Carabao Cup. If what Van Persie has said about that injury being quite psychological and quite restrictive, then, you know, it could be a problem. I just remember Rashford in the FA Cup final that we lost to Man City, where the ball was there to be won and he just didn't fancy the 50-50. And I've always wondered, is it psychological or is there something there where he's protecting himself? Because he very rarely fancies a 50-50, and if you had lost a bit of pace, why would you lose a bit of pace at 26 or 27, apart from, are you not running freely? Actually, I do remember that Ryan Giggs used to get a lot of hamstring injuries, and it would have been about 26, 27, where I remember him saying that he had to learn how to run again, because basically the physio had said, or the specialist, that you're getting all these hamstring injuries because of the way that you sprint. So he had to change the way that he ran. And I'm sure he said something like, I had to change the way that I ran, and also I could never run at 100%. My sprint had to change, and I could never run full pelt again. I'm pretty sure I haven't dreamt that one as well. Garnacho is more creative than Rashford, plus Garnacho is a development player like Ahmad, says Leon. He could lose pace by putting on more muscle, possibly. Adama says the opposite. Think it's mental with Rashford. Struggled since losing a close friend, says Aaron G. There could be a multitude of reasons, but it's not actually logical that you would lose your pace at 26. I'm not convinced by it, but I've seen a lot of people saying it. But look, hopefully he'll have a cracker on Sunday. Hopefully he'll score a cracker as well. I just want to see everybody responding. And look, I do hope that, just talking about the players for a moment, obviously they're paid fantastic money and it's a privilege to play for Manchester United, but they are human beings. I just hope that over the last 2 weeks, they've been keeping their finger on the pulse about what's going on as well. And maybe they went into the international break not knowing whether they'd have a new manager at the end of it. But having come out of it and they have still got Ten Hag, I hope that they are galvanised and focused as well, because surely they look around. They're not, like I say, they're human beings. They're not stupid. Surely they look around and go, if this doesn't work, this is another year of my career gone. And I don't know how footballers think, but you don't have an infinite career. People think they've got 10 years, but you can write off 6 or 7 of your years very, very quickly on instability at a football club and a manager change, maybe a few injuries. Most footballers actually might get 3, 4, 5, if they're lucky, really good goes at it to have a good season, where injury doesn't make an impact or instability at your football club doesn't make an impact. And how many more years can these players write off? Like, if you're Bruno or you're Rashford or you're Lindelof or you're Maguire or you're Dalot, you can probably look at the last 5 years and go, well, Mourinho got sacked in that year. Ranić came in after Ollie. That was a wasted year as well. Last year we had a load of injuries. All right, we won the FA Cup. So is it really in players' interest to be looking at the situation and going, well, if we fail and Ten Hag gets sacked, it'll be Ruud van Nistelrooy to the end of the season, and then we'll have another rebuild. It's in their interest to start kicking on in their career. Like, you don't know how many more years you're going to get. And we can rescue this season. It's going to take a lot of bloody work, but most of it will come down to them anyway. The fans will get on board. We'll get on board very, very quickly if we go and win the next 4 games. But only the players can do that. They're the ones who put the shirt on and they go over the line. And I just hope they come back from this international break with some focus, because every team that's successful in the Premier League is a team. Whether it's Aston Villa, whether it's Fulham, they're a team. And there are some of their parts. And I think for too long, certainly over the last decade, Manchester, I mean, it's one of the big things that Sir Alex Ferguson did, generate a team mentality where you're all in it together. And it's a long time since we've really seen that from Manchester United. I mean, I thought we were very focused in the FA Cup final. You've got to beat Man City. But I'm hoping that we're going to see something on Saturday where the team sort of respond. But because we've got some tough games coming up. I think Brentford is tough. I think West Ham away is tough. I think Fenerbahce away is tough. I think Chelsea at home will be tough. Chelsea at home in a couple of weeks has got Spurs at home written all over it. They'll come to Old Trafford, they'll be expansive, they'll knock the ball about, and they'll be competitive. And if we're not up for it, they will get a result. Auto says, hi Mark, it's my birthday today. Could I get a shout out? Happy birthday, Auto. Hope you're doing very well. Automatic, is it? There we go. Happy birthday. And Kit says, for some reason I want to see Anthony Dalot on the right. Dalot is a good on the overlap. Garnacho on the right. Ericsson, Ugarte, Mainu in the midfield, and Rasmus up front. Well, I hope that's a long-term thing, Ankit, because you're not going to see Mainu playing at the weekend because he's injured, and you're not going to see Anthony on the wing because he's crap. But no, jokes aside, we're not going to see Anthony playing for Manchester United. I actually was watching the show with Beth and Ricky, and I saw him say that he wants Anthony and Mount to start against Brentford. And I instantly was like, well, I was laughing about the Anthony bit, but I was like, there's no way Mount's going to be fit. There's just no way Mason Mount's going to be fit. So that's the big problem, isn't it? I think that realistically, that's how things like this work. But you know, I don't really have a massive problem with, look, I just don't think Anthony can come into that team at the moment. I really don't. I don't think he justifies a start ahead of Ahmad, Garnacho and Rashford. It would be a miracle for Anthony to work his way back into this team, but if he's going to do it, then he's got to do it quick, hasn't he? Because we're getting more and more rumours that he's going to be moved on. Mark, I feel like Shaw. I went back to work this week after 12 weeks off and I re-injured my wrist. United medical staff is in the States, says J. Mark, I feel like Shaw. I went back to work this week after 12 weeks off and I re-injured my wrist. United medical is... What did you do to your wrist in the first place, J. How have you re-injured your wrist? What do you do at work? Arm wrestling. Best of luck with it. But... we're all thinking, what's he been doing with his wrist? Anthony should never step foot on a Premier League pitch again, says Rob. Look, I would love Anthony to turn it around. I was very excited about Anthony when we signed him. But, yeah, if you're asking me if I think it's going to happen, no. Would you want Thomas Frank as manager for Manchester United, says me to you. 32% of you say yes and 68% of you say no. I don't think that's... I think that's respectful. I think Thomas Frank is a good coach and maybe he will be Man United's coach in the future. I'm just saying that whilst he's done a good job, I think the job is bigger than that and you should be trying to get bigger than that. But who knows where we would go next, if I'm being completely honest. James Porter's got pneumonia, and after a week, I'm bored and want to get back to work. Bloody hell. Well done, James. Sorry, not well done. That's panicked. Well done, because pneumonia can be quite a bad illness. So hopefully you're on the mend if you're just bored, and get well soon. Get well soon. Didn't Anthony score the equaliser in the FA Cup against Liverpool? Says Rob Royston. He did. He played well, didn't he? Mount looks like another Hargreaves situation in the making. Oh, God, yeah. Someone's right. I mean, Hargreaves, I was very excited about, especially after that 2006 World Cup cameo for England. I thought Owen Hargreaves, I thought was going to solve our midfield problems. It's amazing, actually, at Man United that it's nearly 20 years and we still haven't really solved our midfield issues. And it was 20 years, wasn't it, that Roy Keane was coming towards the end anyway. And I know we bought Michael Carrick, and I think Michael Carrick was a very, 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 very good midfielder. But pretty much since 2006, we've never really consistently solved our midfield problems. Even though Carrick was a massive success, one midfielder is, one sunny day doesn't make a summer, does it? We've really not ever got a good collection of midfielders to solve that problem. We're still chasing our tail on that one, really. Pogba, Matic, Herrera midfield. It was okay, but it ain't bloody Keane and Scholes, is it? If we're being completely honest. And it certainly isn't Rodri, Silva, and De Bruyne. Most important positions on the pitch. We miss Roy Keane, says Scott Page. And I wonder if we'll put Obi Martin in the squad this season. There's clips of him. I think, mate, Solo Liam asking that question. I think when you talk about Obi Martin, he will get his chance. But only if he's ready. Only if he's good enough. We know this with Ten Hag. He said it when he first came in. If you're a young player, I'll only give you a chance if you're as good as what I've got. So he's not one of those managers who's just like, oh, there's a really good 18-year-old. Let's give him a few minutes in a Carabao Cup tie. He will only play players if he thinks they're ready. And that's what we've seen with Mainu. That's what we've seen with Garnacho. That's what we've seen with Collier. So I think there is a lot of... to be honest with you, the feedback on all three young signings from the summer is very, very good. And, well, I say three. We bought the lad in from Australia as well, didn't we, Overy, who's actually gone and got injured, unfortunately. So we wish him all the best. But there are high hopes for all the young players they've brought in. And if any of them show the ability to be ready now, I think we will see them. I mean, look, talking about midfielders, the lad from Mali's a midfielder. I think he's a centre midfielder as well. So, look, I would love it if some of them can solve problems. But they're not going to solve the problems on Saturday, are they? I've got a little bit of a poll going. Do you think we'll get top six, by the way? Yeah. Zek says, Bro said Ben Fillin. Yeah, I meant the football filling with Ben Foster. Certainly. Kone, as a CDM, says Greg Donald. Look, hopefully. 52% of you are saying we're not going to get top six, and 47% of you are saying yes. I mean, look, we're saying it when we're 14th in the league and we've had a bad few weeks. I think if you beat Brentford and West Ham, people might have a different view. But I wouldn't even answer this question until the next international break. We have Leicester at home, we have Brentford at home, we have Chelsea at home, and we have Ipswich away, West Ham away. We need to take 9 points. People say 10. I don't mind losing one if we win the other three. I mean, 9 points, 10 points, it's 1 point. So, but we've got to take 9. We need to win 3 of the next 4. Obviously, I don't want to lose any, but if we lose one, we've got to win 3. I'd love 12. That's unrealistic. But we've got to take 9 points. And if we do that, then I think we will be in a much better position to look at what we can do this season. But the trouble with top 6 is, it's Arsenal, it's Man City, it's Liverpool. There's 3 spots there that you would probably say at the moment are Villa, Chelsea, Spurs. But then there's still Brighton, Newcastle, maybe even Fulham. So we've got to earn the right to even be in that conversation at the moment. And as Harry says, we're too inconsistent to even be considering this at the moment. Exactly. And look, I go back and say it again. If you can't beat Brentford at Old Trafford, you've got no right to be in a top 6 race. And Man United need to be beating Brentford at Old Trafford. Absolutely do. We are better away from home at the moment. This squad is mentally weak and can't handle the pressure at Old Trafford, says Philip, which is, again, a big reason why it's such a big game on Saturday, because we've seen this so many times, and we do need to we do need to show that we can do it at Old Trafford. It's nearly 50-50 on whether we'll get top 6 or not. Anyway, okay, thanks everyone for watching. Apologies it wasn't Kev tonight. Hopefully I've done a decent job stepping in. We've got Ten Hag's press conference tomorrow lunchtime, but we've obviously had a lot of injury updates already, so I'm sure there will be questions about some of those things. And of course, I'll be back for the 10 o'clock show tomorrow and the 8 o'clock show. And then it's game day on Saturday. Thank God this international break is over. It's been a very long one, and I just want to see Man United playing football. Absolute legends tonight. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope that you are starting to get excited about Saturday and getting behind the team. And I will speak to you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.